What's up, everybody? James Sutton here, aka MogulBound. I put the action in the law of attraction, and in this video, I'm gonna explain to you how to make your ideal self, the power it can bring to you, and then I'm gonna share with you the ideal self that I just created for me. But first, I wanna show you this awesome new intro video. So what is your ideal self, and why is defining who your ideal self even important when we talk about the law of attraction? Man, there are so many reasons why defining who you want to be in your life is extremely important when it comes to designing your life, projecting your life, materializing your life, and resonating with that in which you want to bring into your life. So I'll start off with a quote that's in my book. I pretended to be somebody I wanted until finally I became that person, or he became me. And that is from Cary Grant. I want to share a short story. I started understanding the idea of projecting who I wanted to be back when I was in 10th grade. In 10th grade, I was probably the biggest loser in school. 3,200 kids between 9, 10, 11, and 12th grade. And in 10th grade, the beginning of 10th grade, I was nobody. I had no friends. I was 215 pounds, pimples all over my face. I had social disorders. I got terrible grades. I had a terrible home life. I had all kinds of terrible circumstances in my life, and everybody seemed to pick on me, bully me, and give me crap for everything. In fact, when I had to be called on in class to do something, to answer a question or to get up in front of the class, man, if I had to get up in front of a class, I began to hyperventilate. My eyes would start watering and tearing like an uncontrollable broken fountain, no joke. And I could not hold a paper, because if I had a paper in front of the class, my hand was shaking so much, it was like this. And here's where I discovered the barely beginning workings of designing my ideal self and becoming that person. If you guys are old enough, I'm 28, so if you're 28 or older, you would know what the first generation iPod Shuffle looked like. It was about this big, and it had no screen. No screen. It just had buttons on it. And it was basically a USB drive, plug right into your computer. Anyway, I didn't really listen to music, but I had one. And one day I opened up a text document on my computer, and I wrote 3 lines. I wrote, if you walk like somebody, if you talk like somebody, you'll be somebody. I'm not even sure where that came from, but I wrote it, and it was so obscure to me that I decided to save that text document onto that iPod Shuffle. And every single day I carried that iPod Shuffle in my pocket like it was my wallet. Again, even though I didn't listen to it. So the only thing I thought about when I had that in my pocket was, if I walk like somebody, if I talk like somebody, I'll be somebody. And I just wanted to be somebody because I was nobody. This was in 10th grade again, and I gotta say, my life transformed within a few months. All of a sudden, I created friends. I started losing weight dramatically, very fast. I joined the volleyball team and later became the libero, which is the best digger on the varsity team my starting year. I got a girlfriend within 3 or 4 months. And everything in my reality began to change in that time. And I never forgot, because every day I was thinking, if I just walk like somebody. So I started walking different. I started standing taller. My chest was out. I started having my shoulders down, and I started having confidence. If I talk like somebody, right? So I started talking differently. with confidence in my voice. I started speaking up just because if I did that, then that meant the third line that I would be somebody. And that is, again, my ultimate desire at that time. I wanted to be somebody. So in my book, by the way, I'm opening up my book for free until I publish it. So that will be adjusted the next day or two, but it's going to be free for the next, 1 to 4 months time, because I'm refining this process. This is just a very tiny snippet from the book. It's step 2. It's who is your ideal self? Who do you want to be? Who is it that you need to be to get all the things that you want to have, be, do, achieve, acquire, etc.? What kind of person is that? Who are they friends with? Who do they hang out with? Where do they hang out? What kind of car do they drive? What kind of clothes do they wear? What kind of businesses do they own or jobs do they have? What kind of networks are they a part of? What kind of organizations do they help? What kind of charities have they helped? What is that person? How does that person act? What do they do when they wake up in the morning? What do they do all day long? How do they feel all day long? How do they make the people around you feel all day long? All these questions are so vital to understanding who your ideal self is, because at least for me, I've got to define that person in its absolute entirety so that I can create a character in my mind and actually see that character in all of who they are. And I'll explain why that's powerful in a few moments, but that has to be the goal for me. And I think that for whoever is following this journey and wanting to go along with these steps, I think it's vital for you as well. So the power, right? I mentioned the power of creating your ideal self. What kind of power am I talking about? So this is a really interesting thing. I've created my ideal self twice before throughout my life. Besides when I was 16, what I just mentioned, that wasn't really my ideal self. That was just understanding the power of creating something in my mind that I wasn't, and then moving towards that and becoming that. So each time that I created my ideal self on paper and visualized that person, I got 2 pages. I started to become that person. And the reason why I started to become that person is because the next time I was faced with circumstances, scenarios, things that just come up in my day, all of a sudden the idea of my ideal self would come into the frame of my mind, and I would be forced to ask myself this question: what would my ideal self do with this? And knowing who your ideal self is and what they do and how they act and where they go and the things they have allows you to instantly come up with an answer that you know is true. And then it forces me to ask myself a second question, right? Okay, my ideal self would do this. Well, do I want to become my ideal self today, or do I want to keep being me? And that's a very powerful thing, because now when I read this, I'm going to be forced to ask myself these 2 questions in every moment of my life moving forward on this journey. And it's really like a turning point of no going back. I won't be able to go back. So my entire mission in creating my ideal self is to ask myself those 2 questions and know what my ideal self would do, would have, would be, would say, would acquire, would accomplish. And I have to always be moving in the direction of my ideal self, because I know that this is my dreams right here. By becoming this person, every single one of my dreams and goals and desires would have become fulfilled or will become fulfilled by reaching these heights. So without further ado, here we go. Actually, sorry. Before I read this, I want to describe to you the dynamic in which I wrote this. I wrote this as if it's a he. It's he, right? I won't pretend right now and today to be any of these things. Because it is my goal to become these things. So when I say this guy and he and himself, I am referring to the version of me that I one day will become and will be working to become starting from this moment. Okay, this guy, he has mastered the ability to reflect on himself in real time. He has become so calm and collected in intense and heated situations. He has overcome the emotion of fear by walking into it and making fear an opportunity for growth. And through perseverance, he is no longer afraid of speaking, being wealthy, having extreme levels of excess, of being responsible for thousands of people, of running multiple businesses, of speaking to the most beautiful and smart women the world has to offer. Yeah, I still am. It's too bad. He is no longer afraid of the dark. I kind of still am sometimes. The unknown, a lot. I'm very afraid of the unknown. Spiders. Yeah, I'm still kind of afraid of spiders. His parents. And releasing the need to figure it all out or to be right. For lack of better terms, he has figured out how to become all that he is capable of becoming within himself, in his own mind, and has found a way to follow through on all of his desires. He has reached a level of success that is recognized by some of the most profound people the world has to offer. His businesses not only do right by their customers, they promote people from within and create leaders through their promotion processes, and they also give back directly to help the common people. News, media, and independent writers, bloggers, YouTubers are always trying to interview him to figure out what's next on the list on his list to accomplish in the world. He is responsible for movements so vast that it's hard to even speculate how much good has actually come from his involvement. He probably doesn't even know how much he's worth, or how much money he makes a month, or a week, or a day, or per hour. Shit, he probably doesn't even realize how much money he makes while he sleeps. His houses are so vast, spread out throughout the world, and have a perfect blend of tech modern meets nature. He has his pick of whatever cars he wants at any time and has a handful of planes. Some for pleasure, to fly himself around and to do stunts in the sky. Some for chartering friends, family, and business partners. And some for transporting goods. Not those kind of goods, but goods. He often donates 7 figures at a time to foundations that he comes across at networking events, and continually backs people that he believes in to better their future, a company, and most frequently, movements that have grand effects on the world. He wears unbelievably amazing clothes, perfect for his style, and unique enough that nobody knows where he shops. Does he shop? No, he's got personal stylists and a clothing designer. There is no one thing that he cannot buy, acquire, create, or be. On a spiritual level, he's progressed to a level of humility that most people can't even fathom, connected with his own energy so clearly, and has confronted all of his turmoil, struggles, pains, and past. He has forgiven himself on all levels. He has let go of all that does not serve him, and he has forgiven everyone from his past has forgiven everyone from his past that has ever wronged him. He has a connection to his higher self as if he is a best friend or roommate living in the next room, over, and always sees the good in everything and everyone. Not only has he reached such levels of spiritual development, but he has also had a hand in spiritually developing and awakening millions of people all over the world. In meditation, he has become a wizard, meaning he can do almost anything he's ever imagined possible through the use of meditation, remote viewing, astral projection, and all kinds of connections with other realms of existence. At this point, he can channel information of all walks of life consciously, just by asking the question in his head and waiting for the answers to present themselves. Energy work is one of his favorite spiritual developments. Now trained in Reiki healing, even his presence in a room makes everyone feel better because of the energy he emits from his core. In the world of education, he has traveled the world and learned from some of the most reputable, recognizable, and obscure teachers. He's studied business, energy work, meditation, hypnotherapy, psychology, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, quantum computing, economics, political structure, monetary policy, automotive engineering, nutrition, and continually reads books every month on topics that interest him at that time. He has been offered to teach on many subjects and always looks for ways that he can give back in education anywhere that he can. His relationships are like no other. Let's just start with his partner. As amazing as he has developed himself, I think it goes without saying that his partner is an equally amazing woman. She's got skills and abilities and a heart like no other person I've ever met in my life. She always has been there for him and has helped him get to where he is. She supports him no matter what. And he does with her, and they work as a team to overcome the obstacles in their life. She has also done most of the things he has done, and even some different, and gives him a run for his money to keep up with her sometimes in many aspects of life. She keeps it real with him, thus giving an honest reflection of who he is and where he's at. He has created a family that stretches far beyond the idea of blood or last names. His friends are his family, and his family are his friends. There's nothing but love that connects the people in his life, and they all seem to love and appreciate each other just the same. His friends are probably the most amazing people you could ever ask to be friends with or have in your life. Stealing, lying, faking, manipulating, taking advantage, flaking, wasting time, being non-authentic, or being negative are things that literally do not exist inside his circle of friends and family. They have all figured out a way to support each other and be real with each other at all times. You might imagine he is in perfect health, diet, workout, physical capabilities, physical appearance, stamina, endurance, and nutrition. It's all in perfect balance and harmony in his daily life. He has the best medical guidance and insurance that can be found. He keeps on top of checkups. He's looking to live far beyond the age of 100. Now that medical advancements have become public, he's actively taking steps to extend his life, and of course, has the resources to do so. He runs, he swims, he meditates. He has kick-ass morning routines. He sleeps well, he shits well. He skydives. He drives super fast cars. He rides motorcycles on the track. He flies jets. He's artistic. He's creative. He's innovative. And he does anything that he can imagine possible and believes is possible. He is the kind of guy you want to be, have around, or become. He is the best version of myself, and I believe I will become him. He is my ideal self. And now I must ask myself, in every walk of life, what would this guy do? So, thank you so much for joining me with this video. I hope that you can take yourself and create your ideal self on paper first, visually second, and physically third. See you on the next one.